Hey, this is a quick video about the upcoming presidential debates and what may be happening on each one. The next debate is going to be on October 16th. I'm recording this on October 13th. And this is going to happen after, well, first of all, the sun will have just moved into Libra. So for the rest of the campaign, the sun is going to be debilitated, and it happens on debate night. Now, there are a couple ways to interpret this. One of them is that the king, who is Obama, gets weakened because he's the one in power, and he would become weaker as the sun becomes debilitated. The other one is that Romney, who is running the sun dasha, gets weakened because it's his dasha planet, which means Romney is in sun dasha right now, and he's in sun Mercury, and the sun is his dasha planet, and it goes into debilitation, and it's joined Saturn, which is exalted, which is Obama's dasha planet and Obama's ruling planet. So Obama's ruling planet is very strong. In his natal chart, it's in the first house, and it is joined Jupiter. It's aspected by the 9th lord. It also has some difficulty because it's retrograde, and it's joined the 3rd and 12th house ruler, which is also Jupiter. So Jupiter is also, as a temporal planet, it's called a temporal malefic because it's the 3rd and 12th house ruler. But in general, the ruling planet, the dasha of the ruling planet, is usually quite powerful, especially if it's well oriented in the chart, as Obama's is, even though it's definitely ambiguous. It has a lot of strength, and by transit right now, it's exalted. And as I say, Romney's sun is powerful in his natal chart. It's in the 10th house. So it gives him a lot of power, and it's shown his rise to power during this election cycle. But it becomes debilitated. It goes into Libra. So it'll be interesting to see on this debate how that cuts. Besides that, the moon also goes into Libra. Now again, this is going to favor Obama because this is Obama's 10th house. So the sun and the moon and an exalted Saturn and Mercury, which is Obama's 9th house ruler, are all in the 10th house on this debate night. So in general, this is going to favor him a lot more because the 10th house is the house of notoriety and recognition. And, you know, there's an exalted Saturn there, and Mercury is there. Now, of course, these also fall somewhere from Romney's chart, and they're in the 6th house. So essentially, the sun becomes debilitated in his 6th house, and it's joined, you know, the exalted Saturn in the 6th house, Mercury in the 6th house. Now, Mercury is a powerful planet for Romney as well because Romney is a Taurus ascendant. The sun is not so much for either one of them, but actually the sun is actually neutral for both. I don't want to misspeak, but all these planets in the 6th house, especially having Moon and Mercury in Romney's 6th house, doesn't bode as well for him by any means. So I think we'll see a very different debate result from his point of view on Tuesday, the 16th. Now, this is also because, you know, the 6th house is about arguments and adversaries, and I think he's going to find a much more formidable adversary in Barack Obama on the 16th. You know, much more so than what he found on the first debate, when Obama really seemed to not have anything to say back. He seemed very kind of shocked and surprised by Romney's aggression and his assertions, which many construed as being not true, as being incorrect. And so the last debate also is going to take place on the 22nd of October. And, you know, this is a harder one to guess because, you know, this is a trickier one to assess because it's going to be in Obama's first house, which, you know, the moon will be in Shravana in Obama's first house and be going right over his rising sign. It's also going over Romney's Venus and going through Romney's 9th house. So it's actually really quite good for both of them. You would tend to favor that the moon is going through Obama's 1st house as being more favorable. Just like the first debate, the moon went through Romney's 1st house. So in the first debate, the moon went through Taurus and it went through Romney's 1st house and over Romney's ascendant. And you saw how much favor he garnered from that. It's the best he's looked so far. I don't think he's going to look that good again. He's going to have much more of a formidable foe on the 16th because Obama's going to come out swinging, and I think it could really damage Romney. He may very well bring up things that Obama has not brought up yet, which has been quite surprising. And I don't just mean the 47% comment, but even things like, the obvious one to me is, why hasn't he said, or at least stated, that Romney hasn't released his tax records yet? Every presidential candidate for the last 30 years has released his tax records. And it's remarkable Obama hasn't, at least just as a measure of comparison, and saying something like, you know, Romney seems to think the same rules don't apply for him as every other candidate of the last 30 years, and say, you know, Governor, I've released my tax returns, why don't you? And just kind of call him right out, especially since Romney is telling people that he's going to pay for tax breaks by tweaking the tax code and closing loopholes on wealthy people like him, but he's not saying which loopholes he'll close, and he's not disclosing his own taxes, so we can even see what he's done. He has said he's paid 13%, but that's much less than the rest of us. So just as a matter of fairness and a matter of record, it's not even hyperbole. It's kind of amazing Obama has not called Romney out, at least on that, and at least as portraying him as being out of touch and as being some sort of rich white guy that's not in touch with middle America, just as a matter of saying, why don't you release your tax records? The rest of us have done it. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that comes out on Tuesday night's debate, or if something equally as strong, because Romney has a lot of damning stuff around him that Obama has not really spoken yet. And if Obama wants to win, he needs to say this stuff. He needs to come out fighting, and you're going to see this because these energies are going to shift. The sun is going into Romney's 6th house. This is what I said in my prediction, that once the sun becomes debilitated, which is Romney's Dasha Lord, it's going to hurt him. Now, it could hurt Obama because Obama is the king. It could cut both ways. This is why I'm telling you both possibilities. Because the king could also get neutralized, because that's what the sun is. But my take on it is that it's going to hurt Romney more. It's Romney's Dasha planet. So I said at the beginning of my astrology predictions that either one of them could win, and either one could. It's very close. So these last couple debates could be very interesting. I think on Tuesday night you're going to see Obama with a distinct advantage because of the sun, because all those planets in Romney's 6th house, which they weren't the first time. Especially the moon going through Obama's 10th is definitely more favorable, I think, than going through Romney's 6th. And the sun is not in Romney's 5th house anymore. It's moved into his 6th. And the second debate on the 22nd could cut both ways, but I think it's going to favor Obama more because it'll be the moon in Obama's 1st house, just like the moon in Romney's 1st house on the first debate favored him. He just looked better, and he just seemed more at ease than Obama did on the first debate. So again, it's going to be close, and I think what's going to happen is, from here on out, with the sun becoming debilitated and then Venus becoming debilitated after the second debate, the day after the second debate, Venus becomes debilitated, which again, that's Romney's ruling planet. So on election day, and this is a big reason why I said this, on election day, Obama's ruling planet is exalted in the 10th, joined a debilitated sun. Now again, the sun is the king, so it could show he's debilitated, but it's also Romney's Dasha planet. So Romney's Dasha planet is debilitated, and Romney's ruling planet, Venus, is also debilitated on election day. And so this is a big shift that's going to happen. This is a change. Romney for a couple weeks, Romney's ruling planet has been in Leo, the sign of the king. So Romney has looked very king-like since Venus went into Leo a couple weeks ago. It benefited him. It didn't benefit Obama. So you're going to see Venus come down in stature. Especially, we're going to start looking at the details more. Venus is debilitated in Virgo. So we're going to see a lot more Virgo scrutiny on Obama. Especially after the second debate. And we see that the sun is debilitated also through the rest of the election cycle. So let's see how this works out. Again, it's very interesting and fascinating to look at. And there's a lot of ways these things could go. So I'm showing both possibilities because they're both possible. Any astrologer who acts like they have some monolithic absolute truth is not acting from a place of sanity, because it's way too close. And you see the possibilities in the astrology. It actually affirms the genius of astrology. It affirms it. It doesn't take away from it. When people say, oh, it should be simple, it's only two people, why can't you say for sure? Because it's an incredibly close race, and the astrology shows it. Which way is it going to cut? It's hard to really know. And I think what is going to determine the election is whether or not Obama can come out and meet Romney in a level of toughness. And this has been a problem with Obama's presidency. To the dismay of his constituents and those who believed in what he might bring to the White House even, he's backed down from Republican hardline positions. And when people come at him and fight, he caves. He compromises too much. In that first debate, it's like he kept trying to find consensus with Mitt Romney every time he was asked a question. Well, here's where Governor Romney and I agree. It's like, why do you keep saying this? It's like he's trying to get Romney to vote for him or something. It's like you need to draw distinction, and so he needs to do that if he's going to win. If not, if he keeps up with this kind of accommodating, I'm above the argument place, he's going to lose. And it shows that he's going to lose if he keeps doing that. But in Obama's chart, Obama is a fighter. He's got Mars, Rahu in the 8th house in in Leo. So he can fight, and he needs to fight. He's going to need to fight for his positions and for those people who he supposedly cares enough about to step outside his comfort zone. It's obviously not his comfort zone to do that, but if he wants to really represent and advocate those people who are trying to give him the vote, he needs to do it. And he needs to make this contrast between what he stands for and what Mitt Romney stands for. And there are indications of what that is. And some people want what Mitt Romney stands for. That's fine. I'm not saying they're wrong. But it's obvious that he, is of a certain class of people and thinks this is how you make it work. And, some people think that's better for the country right now. That philosophy is what we need. Some people don't. Some people think we did this from 2000 to 2008 with George Bush. It's really not very different from what the George Bush years were about. It's really the same policies. And Obama sort of tried a different course, and I think he made a lot of mistakes, especially with the health care bill, when he burned a lot of political capital and polarized the country a lot with that. And I think Mitt Romney made a very good point in the first debate, and when he said that he tried to jam that through when half the country opposed it. Not a single Republican voted for it. And this is going to be very divisive. This is one reason Obama has been very polarizing. So, I guess these are some of my views. I didn't plan on talking about all this, but, I try to see it both ways. I'm not a huge Obama lover. I'm not a Romney lover either by any means. I think Obama will be better for the country, especially looking at his dashas, like I've already said, because Obama's going to be in Saturn dasha, and that steady hand is going to keep going. And Romney is going to go into Moon Dasha halfway through his presidency, and he's got a debilitated moon in Scorpio with Jupiter, the third lord. Very difficult planet. So I'd like to see Obama win. I think he'll be a better president the next time. And I do think Romney is out of touch. I think he's shown it. I think he comes from this elite white guy mentality that we had enough of. We just had that. And it's amazing to me that Obama is not just going at him over this, especially some of the things I mentioned. I mean, he could clearly say, look, you think there's a whole set of rules that apply for you that don't apply for the rest of us, like your tax records and all these other things. Show us that then. You want us to trust that you're going to pay for all these tax cuts by closing loopholes on people like you, yet you won't show us your taxes. I mean, it's just like, call the guy out on what he's saying instead of trying to be glib about it or something. So if Obama can do this, if Obama does this, which I think he will, I think he'll win. If he doesn't, he won't. It's that simple. If he's going to cave into the mean Republican who's just bludgeoning him, then he's going to lose. And he should lose. And that would be a shame, I think, because I think he'll be a better president the next term. So this is my take on the next couple debates. We'll see how it plays out. Again, on October 16th, I think you'll see a more benefit to Obama. In fact, even the environment, I'm just thinking right now, it's a town hall meeting, which is in front of people. Obama is just more comfortable in that environment as well. I think Romney will do well, but I think Obama will look better, and I think he'll bring out something much more confrontational. It'll be much more confrontational. Romney's going to he'll have a fight on his hands, because all these planets are in Romney's 6th house of defense, of fighting, and of a battle, and they're in Obama's 10th house, which is a house of public. And you have all these Raja Yogas in Obama's 10th house by transit. The 7th Lord, 9th Lord, 1st Lord, all in Obama's 10th house. Powerful Raja Yogas in Obama's 10th house on that second debate night. And they go into Romney's 6th house. That is not a good place that's not Raja Yoga place. Let's put it that way. So, and then on the 22nd, again, the moon is in Obama's 1st house, which, just like when the moon went through Romney's 1st house, it really benefited him. I think moon going through Obama's 1st house on the 22nd and right over his ascendant, right over his sun and Jupiter, his Saturn and Jupiter, is going to benefit him, not benefit Romney. So there you have it.